from Penrith Station through to Central Station, and we're currently in lockdown. It's just hit 9 p.m. and we're in a curfew, so people in this area, there'll be less of them, so you'll be able to see what it's like driving in wet, stormy conditions. I'm driving my new Isuzu D-Max X-terrain. I might not be able to reply to comments or questions, but I'll try and talk through what I like about the car, what I don't like about the car, and just general Sydney conditions at the moment. So I've had this car now for about a month. I've already done, well, it's almost 2 months now. I've already done nearly 5,000 kilometers in it. It's quite good to drive, especially in wet weather. I've done a few little mods at the moment, which is LED lighting. I've still got more globes coming, so I've done my reverse lights, I've done my rear blinkers. They're amazing. I'm going to do a video on how bright they are. It's just, yeah, it's crazy how much LED over incandescent bulbs makes. I've put max liner floor mats in. You may have seen the video that I've done for that. It's quite good to have mats that just capture all the water and dirt that's out there. So with it being raining at the moment, I've got my work boots on. I don't have to worry about like mud or dirt or water going into the carpet. Worst comes to worst, I can just peel out the floor mats and just shake them off, hose them off, let them dry, put them back in. Happy days. I just got squirted by the truck next to me. Today we've had about 60 mil of rain, and it's this afternoon it's picked up quite windy. So if I start to stutter or things like that, it's because I'm paying extra attention to the road, and I'll lose train of thought. So one negative thing about this Isuzu, and it could be all new cars at the moment, is the paintwork. When I picked up the car, I had an idea that the paintwork was going to be pretty average, but one thing I discovered is the the dealership threw in an extra feature, and this is probably something you want to watch for if you're getting a new car. They threw in extra swirl marks into the paint. So they've done it unintentionally, but their detailers are detailing lots of cars and none of them are special to them. They're not their cars, so they don't really care for them. So sorry, just a bit of an update. I'm just turning onto the M4 at Penrith at Margol Road, moving into 110 zone and just pushing up the hill. So sorry, back to what I was saying. Yeah, their detailers, they don't particularly care for the cars. Think of like a farmer, and he's got all these animals, but then he has a worker working for him taking care of the animals. The worker's there to be paid, not to care for the animals. So it's the same with car dealers. Their detailers are there to be paid. They don't care about the cars as much. So when they're rubbing over the cars, they're more than happy to rub dirt into the paintwork. I found lots of swirl marks in the paintwork. So instead of going back to the dealership and complaining about it, I just went out and bought, because I've got a black Isuzu, I just went out and bought turtle wax. They've got a ceramic acrylic polish that's made for black cars. So I was able to apply that because I've got a polisher, and I did it myself. By doing it myself, I could guarantee that I was going to get rid of the swirl marks, and I was quite impressed with how much I got rid of it. Yeah, I put a few holograms in it, but I wasn't overly too concerned because at the end of the day, I knew I was going to do a better job than what the dealership could do. As you can see, it's raining. Just come up to the northern road, and there's no traffic on the road here, which is excellent to see. It means people are staying inside for this lockdown. I've tried to put the camera in the best spot so that way everybody can see clearly. I'm trying to use my wipers as minimal as possible, so when there's less light around I won't use them, but as there's more light I try and clear the water away, just so that way people can see what's going on. I'm currently on my speedo. It's a digital speedo. I'm sitting on 113 and 114 kilometers. It's just varying slightly. I have on my Android Auto, it's currently showing 110 kilometers exactly. So my tires aren't out too bad. With this as well, one thing I love about the X-terrain, it's got lane keeping assist, I think it's called. So you set up cruise control, it's going along, and you turn on lane keeping assist, and pretty much all you got to do is keep a hand on the steering wheel just in case anything happens. It doesn't drive for you, it just assists you, but you're able to it'll go through the lanes turning. It'll keep you in the middle of your lane, so as there's a bend it will stop you from going out of your lane. So you should always pay 110% attention to the road, but this just gives you that little bit of extra comfort knowing that even if you get distracted for a minute, say if you've got kids in the back or a nagging wife or partner or whatever the case may be, you'll know that that the car will have eyes on the road for you. So my wife is probably watching this. She may have heard what I just said, so I'm probably going to get in trouble when I get home tomorrow morning. I start work at 10 PM tonight, so that's why I'm leaving now. It's saying that I'm going to get to Central Station in 38 minutes. So at 9:47 my local time, it's saying that I'm going to get there, but I should probably get there a little bit earlier. So even with me looking around at the moment, my car's keeping me in my lane. I can adjust the distance from the cars in front to make sure I keep a safe gap. The downside to this is when it's not locked down and there's lots of cars on the road, people take advantage of these gaps and they cut in front of you, and then your car brakes and you get pushed back further, and it's just a pain. So one of the things I brought today was a EVC Throttle Controller. It really changes the way that your throttle works. So I've only played around with it a little bit. I had a Ford Ranger before this, if you didn't know, and it I had a Hike-It throttle controller. I've just gone to a EVC throttle controller now. So that EVC used to be iDrive, but yeah, they've rebranded and calling themselves EVC now. They could have been EVC the whole time, but yeah, it's new to me. So eco mode, E0 is the least eco-friendly. E8 or E9, sorry, I should say, is the most eco-friendly. So it really slows down how your accelerator handles. U0 is weak, and U9 is the most sensitive. So going back to what I was saying before about adaptive cruise control, I've come up to a car behind me, in front of me, and I've now dropped my speed to 104 kilometers an hour. So what I can do is I am now going to make the gap bigger between the car in front, and you'll see the gap that it creates. So it just slows me down just a little bit while it creates that gap. And now I can close that gap back up. And it will just resume to the distance, and it will just keep the distance that the car has in front of me. Thank you for the 6 people that are watching the stream right now. I really appreciate that. Yeah, the more people that watch my videos, the more I want to try and create. It's hard at the moment because of coronavirus, and I'm from New South Wales and we're in lockdown. My job, a lot of my team are in lockdown themselves, so they can't come to work. So I'm picking up a lot of extra shifts, so I don't have a lot of time to make videos. So I'm sorry I haven't been producing as many videos as I would like to, but yeah, it is what it is at the moment. If you're looking forward to getting an X-terrain and are excited for what the speed recognition can do, you may be excited, you may be disappointed when you get it. So one thing I've found is it is somewhat good for reading speed signs, but there comes a time where, say, one of the electronic speed boards which I'm about to pass, the speed boards above the screen read 110 kilometers an hour. We just went past them. Sometimes my car will read them as 130 kilometers an hour, or it'll go the other way and read them as 30 kilometers an hour. Now I've turned off the alerts for it, so all the symbol does on the dash is flash. But if I had the alerts turned on, the car would be constantly beeping at me because I'd be doing over the speed or whatever it says. The other frustrating thing about it is it picks up school zone signs. The thing I don't like about that is school zones are in New South Wales from 2:30 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon and 8 a.m. to 9:30 in the morning. The car doesn't recognise when those school zones are active. And this can be really frustrating because you'll be driving through a 60 zone, go into a school zone, and all of a sudden your car's screaming at you. Now this can be, yeah, quite annoying. So just an update on where I'm at. I'm roughly at about Rudy Hill, Eastern Creek. I've been driving currently for about 13 minutes. So as you can see, there hasn't been that many cars on the road. Normally at this time of night there's a fair few more, but at this time there's not that many. I'm currently going under the M7 overpass. Around this area, the tip is over to my right, or rubbish dump, depending on where you're watching from. It can smell quite bad around here. So it's best to have your car on recirculation. A couple of different things to this model from my Ford Ranger. You're able to isolate the passenger side airbag, which I'm not exactly sure why you would, even if you did have loads or goods on the passenger seat. But you've got the ability to. There's a light constantly on showing that the airbag is on. I would expect that it would only be illuminated if you isolated the airbag, but it stays constantly on. There's only one USB port at the front. A lot of other cars I know have two. One 12-volt port at the front, but there is 5 or 6 blank rocker switch ports on the dash. Now that has made me super happy. The reason why is the Ford Ranger comes with nothing. you have to either buy an aftermarket plate or you have to manufacture something yourself. So one of the requirements for having LED light bars or spotlights is you have to have them on their own switch. Now this makes it really hard to do without, if you don't want to drill into the dash or have the switch in a really awkward spot, if you don't have those rocker switch positions. Just an update, I'm just coming through Blacktown now, going over Reservoir Road and coming up to Prospect Highway. So I'm about 30 minutes from my destination. The rain's getting a little bit heavier. The wind's died down though, so it's not pushing the car around. I would have really liked if Isuzu released this vehicle with all-terrain tyres, but they've got highway terrain tyres, assuming that most people are going to be having these on-road rather than off-road. I don't know, I think a four-wheel drive, if people are buying four-wheel drives, they're buying because they want to take them off-road. You'd think an all-terrain tyre would suit the market better than a highway terrain. But highway terrain are usually quieter than all-terrain, so that's probably why they've gone that way. Sorry if this is quite a blurry stream. It makes it hard with the rain and all the lights. I'm trying to keep my wipers off to stop them from interfering, but it is what it is. So to give people an idea, sitting at 100 kilometers an hour at the moment, and it's sitting roughly at about 1500 revolutions per minute. So I'll try and get my instantaneous fuel consumption at the moment. It's saying that I'm using currently 3.9 litres per 100. Now that's because I'm going downhill and I don't have my air conditioning on. My average at the moment is 9.3 litres per 100, but most of my driving is highway driving. What you might be able to see as well is, because it's raining and adverse conditions, I have my fog lights on. So I'll turn them off in a minute. There's lots of cars coming the other way, so they'd be coming out of the city or heading out west from wherever they are. So I've just turned off the fog lights and I'm about to turn them back on. You might be able to see the difference. So what I was saying before, I know I'm jumping topics around a little bit, but what I was saying before about the car turning corners, so now it's currently the car keeping me in the middle of the lane, navigating me around the corners. One thing that New South Wales has that they like to keep hidden is, with this indicator board that's coming up, sitting on top of it is mobile phone detection cameras. So if you're using your mobile phone, they look into your car, if it's handheld, and they'll take a photo and you'll get a fine for it. I always have my phone in a holder, so that way I don't have to hold my phone at all. So if you're going to use your phone in the car, make sure it's in a authorised mount. We're now coming up to Wentworthville. It's just hit a 90 zone, so now I'm going to drop my speed down to 90. Unfortunately, the slower I go, the less quick the rain moves off the windscreen, so hopefully it won't be too much of a pain. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat box and I'll try and answer them when I can. So the closer I'm getting to the city, it seems to be that more people are out and about, which is really strange because this is supposed to be a lockdown and a curfew in place, and I'm pretty sure Wentworthville, the curfew's in place at the moment and people shouldn't be out and about. Once again, I'm an authorised worker, so I am allowed to be out and I have a authorised worker letter. So yeah, once again, the car is steering me around corners. So Sorry, I just had a question. Sorry, Peter Howard. He's just asked me a question: is do all the driver aids get annoying? So one thing that does get annoying is the auto brake. One thing that I don't like about the auto brake is you'll be coming up to someone who's about to turn, and you'll be slowing down for them, and you know you've got plenty of room to weave around them, but the car doesn't know that you're about to weave, and all of a sudden it'll lock on your brakes. It doesn't lock them on, it's sort of the equivalent of ABS. It's quite painful. If you're lucky, you might be able to see it when I get a little bit closer into town and I'm on suburban roads and not the motorway. But yeah, that's probably about the most annoying feature. Everything else I'm pretty happy with. I've turned off a lot of the alarms, so that way I don't hear them. But other than that, it's not too bad. So one thing that I've found with the aircon unit, actually, once again, going from a Ranger to a Isuzu, on the Ranger you could set the air conditioning to cold and just have it constantly blow out cold air. This only allows you to set a minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius or a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius, so it won't keep pumping out hot air past that. It also won't go any cooler than 18 degrees. Now, I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but it is what it is. One thing I do like about the air conditioning system on these over the Ranger is you can leave it set to recirculation, where the Ranger would also automatically default to external, so you'd always be sucking in dirty air if you're driving through an area and you hadn't changed it back. So sometimes it would already be too late to get rid of the smell. So currently roughly around about Parramatta Granville. I've been driving now for 23 minutes. My GPS is saying that I'm going to arrive in town in 22 minutes. So I've done some major upgrades around here. This is all tollway now. They removed the toll for a few years and they've just put it, well, they haven't just put it back on, but it's been put back on recently, so that's quite annoying. One thing I'd suggest to do if you're buying a new vehicle, or even if you've got a current vehicle, get a ceramic polish or a ceramic wash. It makes cleaning your car a lot easier. I polished it in ceramic polish. I've washed it in ceramic wash, and I've coated it in a ceramic coat. Now, it's not necessarily a permanent thing, but it's enough that it keeps my car clean. If I get bird poo or something on it, I can wash it off with ease. Being a black car, it gets dirty easy, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to clean when there's nothing on it. When there's polish on it or coating that things from sticking. So currently coming up to Silverwater Road. it's good to see that the traffic's died right down. One good thing about the M4, there's no speed cameras for light vehicles. There is an average speed camera for heavy vehicles, but there is a lot of places that highway patrol hide. They usually hide behind the wall that I've just driven past. They're not there tonight, or up a little bit further on an on-ramp. So the speed board ahead of me is showing that I need to get to 80 kilometers an hour, so I'm going to do so. It's either Roadworks. One great app that I use is Waze. Once Waze is connected, it user input tells me about what's going on up ahead. So if you're getting a car, try either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, depending on what model phone you have. They're usually the two main things that people have, either an Android phone or an Apple phone. And get Waze. I wouldn't say it saved me, but I find it more reliable than Google Maps. I find it better than the generic maps that come with the car. And you can also run Spotify through it. So I've just remembered tonight they've closed the new tunnel, the West Connects tunnel on the M4. So I have to take the city streets, which isn't too bad. It adds an extra 3 minutes on my trip if I'm not taking the tunnel. So the tunnel's quite expensive for what it is, but I think when traffic is back at full and not everybody's working at home, that it'll save a fair bit of time. But at the moment, it's just not worth taking. About the only time I take it is when I'm feeling lazy and I can't be bothered dealing with traffic and just want to go straight. So one of the good thing about the cruise control as well, it will, because this is an automatic car, it will go down to 0 kilometers an hour and keep the cruise control on for up to 2 seconds at a stop. So if you're in slow moving traffic and it's start stop, it will maintain the cruise control for you. The only thing that sucks is when it gets to traffic lights, it will turn off completely. One thing I was going to mention, is, sorry, I just had a mental blank. The user menu, or settings menu, sorry, I should say. I'd like to see a little bit more in it. There's not as much in it as I'd like, but you know, you can only deal with what you've got. So I'm just setting my cruise control on now, and we'll see what happens as I stay behind this vehicle. So I think it's pretty good technology what goes into the cruise control. If you have any questions, like I said, leave them in the chat box and I'll try and answer them. With going onto the streets, I might get a chance to stop and look at them, but my main focus is driving safely. So at the moment I'm coming up to the M4 off-ramp onto Parramatta Road at Stratfield. You sound like sprinkles. Gee, I wonder who that could be. That's a compliment and a half there. I really appreciate that. That would be Pickle Rick who's done that. Who I really appreciate Pickle Rick coming and watching the live stream. He's a good bloke. Not much of a tradesman, but you know, he's a good bloke. So feel free to have some banter with Pickle Rick, who commented on the live stream. he's given away who he is by his comments. So what's everyone think of lockdown at the moment? Are they happy to be in lockdown? Are they happy to be working from home? So now we're roughly around Burwood. There's a speed camera on my left, so just going to go nice through the intersection. Even in these conditions, the car picks up okay. If my calculations are correct, I should be getting into Central in 15 minutes. And I believe that this is a lockdown area as well. A police car went the other way, so it's good to see they're out and about. There's no indication that there's going to be any checkpoints or anything coming up. They have had checkpoints out to try and deter people from being out and about when they shouldn't be. Today's cases, active cases, was 753. So it's good that the case numbers are starting to drop slightly with more people getting vaccinated. I believe vaccinations are a personal choice, but yeah, the government's really pushing them. I'm going to be parking in Ambo. For those people who don't know Central Station, there's an area where staff can park, and it's commonly known as Ambo Ave. Don't know why it got that name, but it's historically where I'd say emergency services have parked. So, as you can see, there's still lots of people out and about. It's quite frustrating. So, it's good to see that the hot dog stall is still open. They're flashing lights. Just coming out to Wattle Street, intersection on Parramatta Road, Balmain. It's still quite wet. The city is supposed to be wetter than what out west is, but it's oh, I missed the green light. I wasn't even paying attention. Not to worry. Silly me. So it's been a ridiculous run. The West Connects tunnel is pretty much directly below me. I don't think I'm going to get rear-ended now. I'll probably get rear-ended later. But that's just because there's bad drivers out and about. So where the West Connects tunnel comes out is just to the right of me, and 4 lanes merge into 3. entered is called Haberfield. There's a McDonald's next to me, but there's a McDonald's next to everybody at some point. So the speed limit along Parramatta Road is 6 kilometres an hour. Once again, another camera speed red light camera coming up. The rain's getting a little bit heavier, but still not too bad. Look, I don't think it'll be next house. It'll be yeah, in the yard, I'd say. If you have questions and you're watching the stream, feel free to ask questions. At the moment, Pickle Rick's the only one that's asking questions. Irrelevant questions, but still questions, because I really appreciate that. To Pickle Rick, I don't know if I told you the story, but I had a fog light switch yesterday, and I didn't trip out control positive, so it's always a win. I'm sure you can understand that story. So we're now going up a pretty steep gradient, and the car's just holding. There's no dramas there. Everything's nice and cruisy. And sort of coming up to Annandale. 240 question mark. I don't get that. Or is that the run number? I don't know what 240 Leichhardt is. Leichhardt's more back to where I was. I don't know if I've gone past it or not, but there was a pub here. I've been to a few gigs there. Not a bad venue, but fortunately, the music scene has gone down quite significantly. One thing about driving through here is you look at all the old buildings, they might have new shops in them, but a lot of the old signage is there, so that's good. Empire Hotel is on my left. The 240 belt off the headlight switch. Ryan was there to isolate the circuits, but the light switch tested. I shorted it out wires, and they the switch was stuffed, so I pulled it apart, tipped the car, ripped the switch, and told the driver not to turn it off because it probably won't turn back on again. So just use the circuit breaker. Nothing like a class fix. And then I tucked in line between Central and Strathfield to mount it back in position. So that was a fun trip in a V-set. Sorry to the people that are watching this that are not quite getting what I'm saying. Pickle Rick understands what that's because he's asking questions. So I've just driven past a building that on my left that West Connects is connecting up to them, and it's all underground tunnelling. So yeah, it's if I was to turn right just there, I'd get to the RPA hospital. one thing that they've done up here is where the state coroner and they demolished it. So I don't know if you'll see it as I'm driving past it, but yeah, it's all gone now. That's where the state coroner's court. Did you just push it back in and walk away, or did you ignore it completely? So if you would have done your inspections like you're supposed to, you would have picked up on that in the door. But you know, you're not a company man. You're spending too much time on YouTube. So now we're coming into Redford. There's got red and blue flashing light coming up. Luckily, it's not going to be in my way. Look, wouldn't be surprised if you did 8 spends a night, and even in created ones that weren't even there. I'm a little disappointed that you don't put 20 jobs down for inspection, and then wonder why they're questioning them. But that's what I'd expect from you. So, thank you for everyone that's watched the drive-in tonight. Sorry it's been a little bit of a boring drive. It seems that the rain's really died off, which I really like, because I don't like wet night shifts. I'm hoping that I don't get a lot of jobs, but usually with storms comes water leaks and lots of problems. So far I've been streaming for 42 minutes, and I'm probably about another 5 minutes away from where I need to be. So the back area I'm about to turn into, on my left is the UTS building. On my right is where Carlton Breweries used to be. But as the world goes round, all historic places change and developers move in, and they've turned the brewery into apartment blocks and into shopping centres. So they obviously make more money. So they got rid of the brewery and they've put in apartment blocks. In the city, you've got to be careful because there's lots of food delivery drivers, and they're mostly on bikes and they don't care where they go. So you've got to be careful not to run on the road. So the street I'm turning right on now is Bolton Street. So this is where the brewery used to be. But as you can see, a lot of apartments. Yeah, it's getting crazier and crazier every week. If you look at you see lots of cranes building apartment blocks or new buildings, and yeah, it's just bringing more people into a highly dense area, popular area. So currently on my right is the start of station, where all the buses terminate and turn around and restart their services. Thanks for letting me know that the stream's cut out a bit, probably because it's bad reception area, although I do have 5G. No, because yeah, I can't actually watch it and see what's happening, so thanks for letting me know. This is almost the end of the stream. I'm arriving at Central Station now. Almost time to start. I hope everyone's enjoyed the stream. Keep safe. Make sure you talk to someone if you're struggling in lockdown, and that you have someone that you can talk to about it all. Don't do it alone. Being isolated can really have negative effect on mental health, so make sure you keep yourself well checked. There's police at Central Station currently. There's homeless people, so they're trying to move them along. Alright, welcome to Central Station. I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you for watching. If you have questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll try and see. Let me know if you want me to do another stream of driving somewhere. Thank you for watching.